What should we make of those elected officials who have enabled the lies and treachery of certain leaders? Are they complicit in the downfall of our democracy, or simply misguided? As we witness the current political climate, it's hard to ignore the words of Theodore Roosevelt, who said that patriotism means standing by the country. But is standing by the country just about loyalty, or does it also involve holding leaders accountable, especially when their actions lead the nation astray? One man who has certainly decided to speak out is none other than Arnold Schwarzenegger, the iconic action star turned political figure. Schwarzenegger's words carry weight, and he doesn't mince them when it comes to President Donald Trump. He firmly believes that Trump will go down in history as the worst president ever. To many, this sentiment rings true. Trump's actions, particularly in his attempts to overturn the results of the election, have been marked by lies, deceit, and disregard for the democratic process. Arnold, in his blunt and unapologetic style, doesn't just call Trump a failed leader. He predicts that soon Trump will be as irrelevant as an old tweet. And to him, that can't come soon enough. But what does this all mean for the future of the Republican Party? In an era where integrity seems to be a rare commodity, the very fabric of political loyalty is being tested. What happens when the party of Abraham Lincoln and Ronald Reagan, two figures that represent strength and unity, loses its way and becomes the very thing it once fought against? Arnold Schwarzenegger is here to offer his thoughts, and they might be harsher than we're ready to hear. In the midst of this growing chaos, Schwarzenegger points to the concept of courage. It's easy to look at the likes of John F. Kennedy, who authored Profiles in Courage, and reflect on what real courage means. However, when it comes to members of his own party, Arnold knows that many of them lack that same courage. Their unwillingness to speak out against Trump's dangerous rhetoric and lies stands in stark contrast to the values Kennedy upheld. The failure to stand firm in the face of overwhelming pressure is not just a political misstep but a moral one. The absence of spine in today's GOP is clear, and it's one of the key factors that has allowed Trump's lies to fester and grow. But what if someone finally decided to put an end to this madness? What if someone with the clout and courage of Arnold Schwarzenegger took a stand and ended the political career of Trump? Well, it looks like Arnold has done exactly that, or at least delivered a decisive political blow, one that we can only hope will reverberate through the corridors of power. Schwarzenegger's views on Trump and the GOP have become more vocal in recent years. Though he's been associated with the Republican Party, Arnold's relationship with it has been complicated. It's not been the picture of perfect harmony, more of an on-again, off-again relationship, with Arnold at times standing as a beacon of reason within a party that's lost its way. His critiques of the GOP and Trump have been consistent and unyielding. However, his latest tirade against Trump, which garnered massive attention, shows that Schwarzenegger has reached his breaking point. What has finally pushed him over the edge? It seems that Schwarzenegger, much like the rest of us, has simply had enough of the political chaos. The turning point for Arnold was Trump's actions leading up to and following the 2020 presidential election. The attempts to delegitimize the election results, the spread of falsehoods, and the constant lies about the integrity of the electoral process were all things Schwarzenegger couldn't ignore any longer. As someone who understands the dangers of authoritarianism, he fears the path that these lies and deceptions could lead the nation down. He's seen firsthand how quickly things can spiral out of control, having grown up in Austria, where political turmoil was an all-too-real part of history. This gives Arnold a unique perspective on the threats to democracy, one that many American citizens may take for granted. But Schwarzenegger's warning isn't just about Trump. It's about the broader implications for the Republican Party and the future of American politics. He's been watching the GOP shrink and fragment, becoming a shell of its former self. He sees that many of the party's core principles, fiscal responsibility, strong leadership, and a commitment to democratic values, are being undermined by the rise of Trumpism. The party is becoming less about serving the people and more about serving a single individual and his supporters. The GOP, once a powerhouse of ideas and governance, is now struggling to remain relevant. And Arnold isn't going to sit by quietly while this unfolds. What's particularly alarming for Schwarzenegger is the decline of the party's influence among younger voters and independents. He's watched as the Republican Party has alienated a significant portion of the population, and he fears that the party's current trajectory will lead to its eventual irrelevance. It's as if the GOP is a gym that refuses to buy new equipment, a place where progress has been abandoned in favor of stagnation. Arnold, having spent years as the governor of California, knows what it takes to adapt and evolve, especially when you're in the public eye. The party's refusal to modernize is a recipe for disaster, and he's calling it out. But Arnold isn't just criticizing for the sake of it. He's been there, done that, and understands the complexities of political leadership. He's not just another celebrity ranting about issues he doesn't understand. As a former governor, Arnold has seen the inner workings of government and the tough decisions that come with leading a state. He's managed budgets larger than many nations' economies, and he knows the stakes involved. That's why his critique of the GOP hits so hard. It's not just an opinion. It's an informed perspective from someone who's lived the life of a politician. Arnold's video addressing Trump and the Republican Party went viral, and for good reason. It wasn't just another celebrity moment. It was a wake-up call. The video wasn't a rant. It was a call to action. Schwarzenegger is trying to steer the GOP away from a path of self-destruction, urging party members to recognize the dangers of their current course. He's warning that if the party doesn't change, it will end up forgotten, irrelevant, and a mere shadow of what it once was. And he's not just using his celebrity to make noise. He's using his position to push for real change. The comparison Arnold makes between the current GOP and the destructive forces of history, particularly the rise of authoritarianism in Nazi Germany, is a sobering one. It's a warning that shouldn't be taken lightly. He sees the same kind of lies, cynicism, and intolerance that led to some of the darkest periods in history, and he's not willing to let the Republican Party go down that same path. In the end, Schwarzenegger's message is clear. We cannot allow lies and hatred to dominate our political discourse. The future of democracy depends on it. And if it takes Arnold Schwarzenegger, the former action hero and governor, to remind us of that, then perhaps it's time we all pay attention. The question remains, will the GOP listen, or will it continue down a path of self-destruction? Only time will tell. But one thing is for certain, Arnold Schwarzenegger is not going down without a fight.